Earth School, where high achievers and spiritual seekers come to learn and embody and embrace their divinity, where I talk about all things health, wellness, spirituality, business, and life. So let's dive in. So I first wanted to welcome you guys back. For those of you who are watching the replay, just to let you know that I am rebranding Indigo Ray TV. So those of you who've been with me on the last few, I don't know, 10 years that I started Indigo Ray TV, I've decided to rebrand my business as Divine Earth School. It's been years in the making. Feel free to say hi if you're with me here live. But it's been years in the making, this divine download for this business. Hey, Ms. Z. Oh, nice. Thank you. Yes, Mosaic Souls is definitely the name of my tribe. But the name of my business will be Divine Earth School moving forward. And I'm super excited about this change. So if you see little changes here and there to the channel, to the name, all that good stuff, just let you know that is going on. Also, I'm also changing over my Instagram and social media stuff. So if you follow me on Instagram or any of the social medias, it will be no, I am not. Nope. I haven't I haven't collaborated with her in over 5 years, so for sure. But yeah, so if you are wanting to follow me at Divine Earth School on social media or Divine Earth Living. So those are the my new channels that you'll be able to follow me and find the content that we'll be releasing for 2021. I'm super excited. 2021 has already been a wonderful year thus far. And I hope to continue to it to be one and to hopefully continue to provide you guys support in helping you create your own divine lives and businesses. So let's dive into this content. I've been chatting a bit. Yeah, I'll answer your questions at the end. I want to get through this content. So, how to stop second guessing yourself. So, the reason why I want to talk about this topic is because I know a lot of my clients who come to me who are wanting to create their own divine lives and businesses really struggle with this one. And a lot of times when we are struggling with second guessing ourselves or self-doubting ourselves, it has a lot to do with the way that we were raised and or with the way that we've come up in society. Like even in our adulthood, we started to develop self-doubt and second guessing just because of the nature of society, or if you've been in sort of toxic relationships, or you surround yourself with people who always second guess themselves and stuff like that, right? So the reason why you want to kind of stop second guessing yourself is because it helps you to more firmly stand in your own realities, firmly stand in your own power. Feel free to say hi if you're with me live in the chat. Um, and it helps you to stand more freely and firmly in your own divine power and your own innate true self, such that you can manifest more of the life that you desire. When you second guess yourself, it's less likely that you're going to actually take positive actions towards creating the life that you want. You kind of get into this sort of mechanism of constantly procrastinating or constantly saying you want to do something but you never do it, or constantly feeling like shit, or feeling bad about yourself, or always beating up on yourself and all this other stuff that kind of comes with it, right? So that's really the reason why you want to let go of second guessing yourself. So let's talk about the how, right? And it really comes down to one main thing, but I'm going to like break this down into different layers and come at it in different ways to help you gather and gain inner knowing of how to start to unravel this sort of epidemic that's going on our planet, right? And the number one thing to help you combat second guessing yourself is really to cultivate your intuition. And what I mean by that is I want to sort of break down your intuition in the form of self-trust and in the form of inner guidance, okay? So we are always receiving inner guidance from our higher selves, from our souls, from our spirits, whatever word resonates for you, your intuition, right? We're always receiving insights, nudges, urges, messages and stuff like that from our higher self. But because we've grown up in a society where we are taught to listen to outside voices other than our own, we don't trust our inner voices, right? We don't, inner voices, not like you're schizophrenic, but you know, that inner voice, that sense of do this, not this, that subtle urge, that subtle, you know, hint, but it's not, it's never like, you know, I'm not going to break down intuition, but it's just about cultivating your intuition, right? And so self trust in your inner guidance are the two keys to cultivating your intuition, right? So when I talk about self trust, it's really about learning to become more inward focused rather than outward focused. Like, and recognizing, ask yourself this question, right? When you're second guessing yourself, where am I placing my sense of authority, right? Because most of us places the sense of authority over our lives outside of ourselves, right? It's sort of the I'm just this lowly little human being and I have no right or say, or it's sort of the victim mentality, right? And so when you stop second guessing yourself, you start to step more fully into the role as the powerful creator that you are. And so when you ask yourself, where am I deriving my source of authority? Is it your husband telling you this? Is it your boss? Is it your mom? Is it your dad? Like, whose authority right now is causing you to second guess yourself? Because ultimately, when you listen to your intuition, when you're listening to your heart, when you're listening to your soul, second guessing yourself isn't something that naturally happens. Like, second guessing yourself comes from this place of mistrust and fear of the unknown, right? And so when we start to listen and cultivate our intuition, which is sort of the second piece, by listening to your inner guidance more, I'm looking down at my notes if you see me looking down, by listening to your inner guidance more and more, you start to receive feedback. And as you start to receive feedback, you start to develop confidence in your intuition, right? So have you ever, experienced listening to your intuition and something that you wanted started to arrive in your life and you're like, I'm so glad that I listened to my intuition, right? Or the opposite, where you didn't listen to your intuition and you got that message or that insight and you didn't listen and you're like, damn it, I knew I should have listened to my intuition, So we've all experienced both of those aspects, but the more and more you start to listen and cultivate your intuition, the more confidence you start to feel in yourself, right? So you're receiving feedback by listening to your inner guidance, listening to your messages, the inner urges and insights, right? And you start to, as you're receiving feedback by listening more and more to your intuition, usually things start to move more in the direction of your heart's desires, because when you're listening to your intuition, you're listening to your soul, and your soul has sort of the vantage point of your life, whereas we can only see with our five senses, right? In our human form, right? So it's about tapping into that version of yourself, right? Tapping into that version of yourself that is more in tune with what you've come to manifest and create and embody and exude while on the planet, right? So that's really the gist of it, is how to stop second guessing yourself, is start to cultivate your intuition. And how you cultivate your intuition is recognizing that intuition is built upon self-trust, trusting yourself, learning to trust your inner guidance, messages, insights, and urges and nudges that you get as you move along your life, right? And it's about starting to derive your sense of authority from within rather than outside of yourself. I hope this makes sense. Let me know if this is making sense in the chat below, if you're live or if you are watching the replay of this. So that's what it really is about. It's about cultivating this sense of self-authority, self-authoritizing yourself, you being the boss of your own life, and not necessarily looking outside to others to give you permission to live your life, looking outside to others to give you permission to make certain decisions or to change your life. Looking outside of yourself for others to give you self-validation, to say that you deserve XYZ, right? It's not about that. It's about understanding that you are your own authority of your life. And when you start to step more powerfully into this role of, you are the creator of your own life, then you stop second guessing yourself. So that's sort of the side effect. And then the second kind of piece to this that I wanted to add before I hop off or answer any questions, is to stop surrounding yourself with people who doubt you or people who gaslight you, okay? So you've heard me use the term gaslight maybe a couple times on this channel, but gaslighting is a term derived from psychology and psychiatry and stuff like that. And people who gaslight you are usually narcissists, but not all the time. Sometimes people can gaslight you and they're not necessarily narcissists. But gaslighting is basically when someone sort of not only second guesses you, but starts to make you feel like you're crazy, like your version of reality is not valid, right? So let's say, let's bring in sort of this sort of narcissistic person. Let's say someone was sort of malignant or mean spirited, and let's say you have your keys or whatever in a house, like say your husband is a narcissist or something, and you left your keys on the kitchen counter, and they like moved your keys or whatever, moved it to somewhere else in the house, and then you go back and you're like, where are my keys? I know I put them on the kitchen counter, right? And then you're like, and then the person is like, no, you didn't put it on the kitchen counter, you put it in da 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 da, right? So that would be like a form of gaslighting, where that person is trying to invalidate your reality or make you think like you're something, like you're crazy. Now that's like a simple example, right? But that can happen a lot in sort of toxic relationships, or that can happen sometimes just with friends or whatever. Not having an ill will against you or anything, or not trying to manipulate you, but sometimes, we sometimes surround ourselves with people who doubt our ability to create our own reality, simply because they haven't stepped into their own divinity in this particular area in your life. So be mindful of not necessarily needing to cut everybody out of your life. Just recognize when you're asking for advice or you're asking for people's opinions, are these people representing the type of lifestyle that you want in that specific area that you're asking for their advice? If they aren't representing the type of person that you want to be in this particular area of your life, then I would take their advice with a grain of salt, right? So stop surrounding yourself with people who doubt you. Stop surrounding yourself with people who gaslight you, or people who just don't get it, right? It's not necessarily that everybody's mean spirit. There are a lot of beautiful people, but not everybody is where we all have different areas in our lives where we're more successful or more, self-embodied, I would say, in our lives than others, right? Some of us like excel at our health. Some of us excel in our careers and stuff like that. So if you're surrounding yourself with, you're trying to make a transition or a change or transformation in your life in a specific area, and you're looking for outside validation before you make that change, be mindful of who you're looking to that for self-validation, right? A little tongue-tied, right? So that's really it, right? So the first one is, hello, Miss K. Berry. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So the first one is really to cultivate your intuition, self-trust, and your inner guidance. And the second piece is really determining where your place of authority is. Are you placing a sense of authority outside of yourself, or are you placing it within yourself, right? And then the third piece is stop surrounding yourself with doubters or people who gaslight you. Okay, so those are sort of like the 3 steps that I wanted to mention about how to stop second guessing yourself. So if you have any questions, pop them in the chat below. Otherwise, I'm gonna hop off. I have a coaching call right after this. If you have any questions, let me know. I know Miss Z did ask me something. What did you ask me? Something about my diet. I am definitely still on the flexitarian diet, by the way, Miss C, just to answer your question. I still eat predominantly vegetarian, vegan for the most part, so just answering your question. Let me know if you guys have any questions surrounding this topic about second guessing yourself in the chat. For those of you joining me live, feel free to say hi and where you're from. Oh, and while you guys are typing or whatever, or those of you, if you're watching this as a replay, feel free to pop your question in the comments below, and I will definitely come back and answer your questions. For those of you, I'm having a challenge. When am I having a challenge? I'm having a challenge on February. Let me make sure I say the date right before I say the date wrong. Hello from California. What's up? Hold on, let me see. What is the date? It's Monday. Okay, so February 8th. So February 8th through the 12th, I'm having a free challenge called the SelfWorth Challenge, right? How to go from codependent to confident, okay? So this is gonna be a 5-day challenge where we're gonna dive into the mechanisms of how to create a sense of self-worth, self-confidence, to start moving towards your desires, moving towards your dreams, to create the life that you want, right? So that's happening on February 8th through 12th. Feel free to, I haven't made a sign up thing, but give me until tomorrow. If you come back to this thing, I'll put a little sign up link, or you can sign up for my freebie at, I think it's below this. Just check out the links below and sign up for my thing to learn more about it. But I'm going to be having a free challenge called the SelfWorth Challenge coming up this February 8th through 12th. So be mindful of that. Let me answer your questions. Sorry. Where is the chat? Okay. Hello from California. What about upgrading our self-worth to thrive instead of just survive? That's so funny, Miss Z. I'm just reading your question. Yeah, so I'm definitely going to be covering more of that in my challenge coming up this February 8th through the 12th. So definitely, if you're not signed up to my email list, definitely sign up for that to learn more. But just a quick gist of that. What about upgrading our self-worth to thrive instead of just thrive? Right, survive. Right. So for me, self-worth, for me is like, what are you measuring as self-worth? You know, what's your frame of measuring self-worth? You know, if you're measuring self-worth instead of, and moving from surviving to thriving, right? When you're looking at your self-worth, it's about understanding, like, what does self-worth and self-esteem mean for you? And then surviving and thriving, like, how does that show up in your life, right? So I'm trying to give an example to kind of answer your question. Let me go back to your question about upgrading our self-worth to thrive instead of just thrive. Sorry, just thinking on that question. I know what you mean. I'm just trying to articulate it in a way that makes sense. It's funny when I tune into my divine team, they always have an answer I wasn't expecting. I was just kind of tuning into them. And what they were sharing is, when you know who you truly are, which is a divine being having this human experience, right? Soul having a human experience, more than just this fleshly, earthly human being. And you start tapping in and tuning into that self-worth, even though I'm using it in this term, really it's kind of a human term, right, that we utilize to mean know your self-worth, girl, like you need to like da 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 da, right? But when you operate from a place of integrity, when you operate from your divinity, self-worth is sort of inevitable. It's an inevitable aspect of you embodying your divinity. I hope that makes sense. Sorry, I have loud neighbors. So it's really about embodying your true self. When you start to embody your true self, self-worth becomes a natural aspect of your life, right? You start moving from a place of integrity. And when you move from a place of integrity, you honor your desires, right? And so from honoring your desires, you start to make decisions out of a place of integrity, out of a place of a higher calling rather than fear. Most of us make many decisions out of fear because we're scared of, you know, leaving the status quo. We're scared of getting outside of our comfort zones. We're scared of trying something new. We're scared of disappointing our friends and family. We're scared of whatever you name it. Go back to the video where I talk about the 7 major fears that we have. But when we're operating from our true selves, when we're operating from the divine beings that we truly are, self-worth is a natural sort of like thing that you exude, right? Have you ever like come into someone's presence, maybe like another spiritual teacher, or a guru, or someone who just sort of embodied, like they just have this sense of like peace, and like there's nothing that can shake them no matter what the F happens, right? It's like when you develop that sense of inner knowing of who you truly are, the way that you move in the world and the decisions and how you shape your life comes from a place of integrity. And when you're moving from integrity, you're naturally going to start to thrive more rather than survive, because you're no longer making decisions from fear. We usually are surviving or in survival mode because we are constantly in this sense of fear. We're constantly second guessing ourselves. We're constantly, not valuing our own opinions, not valuing our own desires, not valuing our own intuition and our own sense of power, right? We all have this innate divine power within us. And when we start to quiet our minds and tap into that power, tap into this innate divine wisdom that's within all of us, this confidence that's within all of us, we start to make decisions from that place of confidence such that life becomes way more easier and you're no longer in this struggle mode. You start to move from a place of just confidence and just expecting that everything is going to go your way because you're a divine being and you're the one creating your own reality. I hope that answers your question, Ms. Z. But yeah, that's basically how you start moving from, survival mode to thriving mode, is to really start to tune in to your true self, which I talk about a lot on this channel. But yeah, any more questions? That was a beautiful question, by the way. Thank you for that question. If you have any questions and you're watching this replay, feel free to pop them in the comments below. Otherwise, definitely join me for my self-worth challenge. The link will be in the description box below. After I hop off, probably later on this evening after my coaching call. But yeah, it was wonderful coming on with you guys. I hope this content was helpful. Yes, definitely check out my free meditation I did a few weeks back. For me, meditation is really simple. There's so many different ways that you can do it. There's a body scan meditation. There's a quieting your mind and just focusing on your breath meditation. There's the listening to guided meditations or listening to, certain, binaural beats, stuff like that. You're so welcome, Miss Naturally Miracle. Yes, I'm glad you're tuning in. I'm glad you're resonating. And also, if you guys are looking to, upgrade and really go in and have a coach work with someone in a one-on-one or group setting, visit me at divineearthschool.com/call to book a call with me and see how we can help you transition into moving more into confidence, self-embodiment, and all that good stuff. But yeah, let me see. Yeah, so those are the meditation techniques. There's so many different ones. You got to find one that resonates with you. Some people need to listen to music to meditate. Some people just need utter silence. Some people can do moving meditation, yoga. Like there's so many different types. So it's just about kind of trying ones that feel good for you and then moving with that. Cool. So if there's no more questions, lovelies, divine goddesses, gods and goddesses, then I will hop off. Need to make sure I'm not late for my coaching call. Cool. So it's been wonderful. I hope you guys have a wonderful evening and I will chat with you guys soon. Peace, love, and light.